part of our project, I feel like what worked the best is our communication together. And when we was actually in BIA, our communication with, I think his name was Ferdy.
That's it, 30, yeah.
Yeah. On our first, when we first went there, we spoke to him for about 5 minutes, asked him about what he would want to speak about, and then after we interviewed him, after we interviewed him, he started speaking on like, wait one sec, hold on, hello,
No.
all right. So after we spoke to Ferdy, I felt like through the interview, I don't feel like we captured everything the first time because he was only speaking on the gold project. And I feel like that was, I mean, the gold services and everything like that. He didn't really have, he didn't speak on the company itself and what their goals were. So that's what we came to a conclusion at the end, where we wanted to interview the lady who actually owned it. And then I feel like our interview with her went a lot better because she explained everything from down to why she created the shop and her target audience. So I feel like that helped our project as a whole. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think as when we first went to meet them on the like location recce type thing to talk about ideas, we had our own ideas. We told them our ideas. Obviously, they had their ideas, and what we like mixed them both together, talking about what services they do, and then we said we'd also like to get like your ethos, your statement, stuff like that. So when talking to 30, he told us to talk to the manager, I guess, or the owner of the company. So the second day we came in, we interviewed her and asked her about why she made everything like that. I feel that the communication between everyone in the group and in the company went well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, nice. I haven't really got anything else to add really about it because I feel like we worked well, we worked efficiently, and got our stuff done, planned each day out, so we knew what we were going to do when we turned up to each day of filming, and even when we were in class, we knew what we were doing, like the written work and whatever. So, yeah, I haven't really got anything else to add.
How can you define that your objectives were met?
What do you mean by like what we so before the project? What we were planning to do, sort of.
Yeah, it's you sit there in the first place, you have your ideas.
Yeah, in my head. Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't started the edit yet, obviously, because we haven't been in. So, I mean, I sort of have the idea of like not like a fast and slow moving. So, like, it has interviews and it has clips. So, the clips that we got, I think, were very suitable what I have in my head. So I would say that is good. But I mean, we have to see the actual edit when the actual edit comes out. So, I would say a bit too early to talk on that part. But yeah, like for my edit. But I know what you mean, and I think we're definitely heading in the right direction for the edit.
Yeah, I think like we on the first day we were interviewed some people, and I feel like they were not maybe confident with their answers or something along those lines. They're not like assured with themselves when they're talking. So I think that could have gone better. But other than that, I think it went well. The organisation, the communication, everything went well.
Yeah.
Me personally, I feel like everything that we planned from the beginning went well because when we first initially started planning it off, we was first thinking of interviews, and we didn't have we thought of interviews, shots of the cafe and things like that. And we also thought of getting shots of upstairs and speaking to both of the owners, and that's what we done. And I feel like we also got shots of the people coming through on the bike rides, and we spoke to some people there. And I feel like we got everything that we planned to do done.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Just touching on one little thing there, you've mentioned about the people not being maybe confident or not saying, maybe not articulating themselves how you needed them. What was it that you did to ensure that you ensured that you got what you needed in the end?
Do you mean by the customers, by when we interviewed customers?
Well, it was just something Etienne was saying a moment ago. I'm not sure who those people were, but went some of the interviews and they maybe weren't saying maybe what you needed, you know.
Yeah, when we interviewed, well, I mean, if Etienne wants to talk, you can as well. But if when we interviewed the customers, like when they came in, some of them like didn't want to talk. So then they're like, "Oh, speak to my friend," and then like the friend was like, "Oh no, speak to my friend," and then it was like an ever-going circle. And we slowly interviewed them, but it wasn't. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the best interview. Like it was a lot better for the owners and the workshop, the Ferdy in the workshop, because I just don't think they were confident, and they were just sort of like, "Oh, what is this?" You know, it's just like teenagers recording them. It was a bit weird. I don't know. I think that's how they felt anyway. But we still got some answers out of them, but it just wasn't like a normal interview. You know, they weren't like confident with their answers. You know, you could see they were kind of shy. It was yeah.
So that's perfect there, what you're talking about. But what I need you guys to think about as well, what would you do differently there then? And it's not, I'm not needing you just to tell me now. You're going to go in a breakout room with Tyler and just discuss this a bit further. But that's a key point. It's not necessarily that you've done anything wrong. But you knew yourself, because what you're saying now, you identified that something wasn't going as you needed it to. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. And it's, you know, these situations when you're out filming in that, it's never about, oh, you know, I'm screwing something up here, or, you know, it can be that. But if you're identifying something, you knew yourself what was going to be relevant. And you could see that these people either, you know, they weren't prepared. So what is it that you could have done to ensure, or moving forward, what
I think speaking to them more off camera and making them more comfortable. Because when we briefly said, literally went up to them and we were like, would you like to be in the project that we're doing? You know, we showed them like the badges, like the little lanyard things for BCA, and we said this is what we're doing. Explained to them, and they were like, yeah, sure. Well, you know, it was only like a small 30-second chat before the cameras were on. So, you know, we probably could have had a longer chat with them, made them feel more comfortable, maybe even ask more questions, because I think we only asked 2 questions because we could see it was just like so awkward and uncomfortable for them. So we were just like, oh, that'll do them.
It's difficult if you think about it. You know, when you're working on the documentaries, that's a precursor to what you're doing here as well, because these aren't actors.
Yeah.
And you've got to realize that. And sometimes it's how you film it. So, for example, if Archie, you're the person that's talking to them, you just automatically keep that conversation going.
Yeah.
And whoever's on the camera, Jarell or Etienne, you kind of just appear gently. And you, Archie, though, it's like that intense look. You keep their concentration focused on you.
Yeah.
So, whereas if I say, oh, come over here, suddenly you're being taken out of your comfort zone and you're taken into a place where, and there's a camera already waiting there. It's sometimes it's not necessarily what you say, it's how you do it, how you introduce the dynamics of this.
Yeah.
Is it in the pre-planning that you ensure that you've got interviews already set up and that they're already comfortable, so it's not so much a guerrilla style in as much as happening that moment, here you go, here's a camera right in your face, talk, you know, that kind of thing. So does that tie into
it makes sense. Yeah 100%.
Does that tie into the research element of it, that when you're talking to them? And I picked up another thing that you were saying earlier, with regards when the owner came in, that she was able to articulate herself clearer. She's going to be maybe more passionate about.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She's probably just more passionate, because Ferdy, even though he is like a part owner, he's more the workshop. You know, he doesn't know the ins and outs of why I started. Whereas if you get it from, I forgot her name as well, but the lady who owns it, you know, she's, you know, the bread and butter. She made it. You know, she's the reason why it's there.
Yeah. It's her vision. And if you're talking about corporate videos, you're talking about what is the vision, what are you trying to do, that kind of thing. Right, so I want you to keep this conversation going. You've really been able to articulate a lot of like clear elements. Something I want you to think about, and I know you said you guys worked fantastically together, and I'm not wanting you to like pick each other apart, for example.
Yeah.
But how do you think, if I was to critique you, and I want you to carry this conversation on with Tyler and maybe start at this point, if you were to help your teammate, so look to your left, look to your right, what would be something that you could say to that person to help them be better on their next project? And this isn't about, oh, you need to do this better. It's about, you know, if you work on this area, if you work on this element, this will make you a far stronger kind of, you know, filmmaker or whatever. It's about helping people. I can only see myself from one dimension, my own mindset. If you three talk to me and tell me about myself, I've got other perspectives that will help me. So I want you to have that as a starting point when you chat with Tyler now. And I want you to part of it is, and what we've done here is we've talked about the practical elements. What we need to ensure is that what you're talking about is shown in your written work, because it's your written work that needs to be impacted with this knowledge. Because you're able to articulate yourself, you've got to ensure that it goes onto the page as well. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So
sounds good.